Oh, I got the intro tonight,
I
don't
was
I?
going to say, what are you waiting
I
for?
thought you had it. I thought you had it for some reason. Oh, what a start. Hot start tonight. Episode 362 of the Tan and J-Man Show. By that, you would think it's episode 2 of the Tan and J-Man Show. But no, I wish you could all go back and hear or watch our early episodes. It would take us, what, Josh? Before we did this these episodes live, it would take us, how many takes would it take us to get going?
Oh, it was 5 to 10, I would
I
say.
mean,
We'd start
30 minutes
laughing.
sometimes.
Yeah, it was embarrassing. I'm glad we didn't have cameras on us then.
But we like to think we're seasoned vets, but like I just showed there, we still make mistakes and errors from time to time. But
I was doing something on the laptop, and I'm like, "Oh, are we having technical issues?"
well,
And I went back to StreamYard. You're just looking.
it's always whoever does birdie or bogey, the opposite guy does it. And for some reason, my head was thinking that you were starting tonight. So, but with all that, glad you're joining us. If you're joining us live on the ISC Sports Network, along with the ISC Sports Network Twitter/X page and the Tan and J Man Show Facebook page, we appreciate it. And if you're listening to this at a later time on your favorite podcast app, please give us a 5-star rating and review. We really appreciate that as well. And go buy some Tan and J Man Show merch while you're at it. I haven't plugged the merch store in a while. TanandJManShowStore.com. You can get a cool looking hat like I got on right here. So, with all that, how you doing today, J Man? How you doing tonight?
Doing all right. Pretty good. Speaking of birdie bogey,
Oh boy,
I do have a birdie bogey for you, and it's baseball related.
Might as well give me a bogey now.
Known cheater, Jose Altuve, hit his 26th career home run in the postseason, which is second most all time. What player did he pass? And what player does he trail for most home runs in postseason history in Major League Baseball history? 26 homers. He passed who? And who does he trail?
I think I know one of these, but I don't know which one it is. I think.
Yeah.
But
so
we'll see.
You gave me a tough one last week. Hopefully this is a tough one on you this week. Birdie Bogey is brought to you by Arlington Public House. Arlington Public House has upscale cuisine and cocktails with a casual atmosphere located 703 Main Street in Rochester, Indiana. $2 whole smoked wings and $1 off domestic brewskis. Every Monday night, they have the Oktoberfest burger all month long. 4 smashed patties layered in Swiss and melty beer cheese on a bed of lettuce and topped with beer-battered onion rings and ham. Served on a delicious pretzel bun with beer-battered fries. That sounds like heaven.
Sounds pretty good. I haven't had dinner yet tonight, and I'm pretty hungry. So I wish I was closer.
Yeah.
I'd make the drive right over to Arlington Public House.
That sounds awfully dang good.
So, yes, it does. Well, speaking to you know, since the birdie or bogey was baseball related, postseason is really getting exciting.
Yeah.
Game 6 between the Phillies and Diamondbacks going on right now. And last I knew, the Diamondbacks had a lead.
Mm-hmm. It was 3-1 when I came up here.
Yes, it is still 3-1 into the 4th right now. And then the battle for Texas, Game 7, Rangers Astros tonight at 8:00. Who are you taking in that one?
This will be the J-Man's bookie prediction of the week. I'm trying to do a little J-Man's curse, if you will, and take the Houston Astros at home. Max Scherzer is on the mound for the Texas Rangers. I don't know who's going for Houston. I don't think it's Verlander. I think Verlander pitched Friday.
He did pitch Friday, but he acted like he was ready.
Throw a few innings at least. He's a vet. He knows what his arm can do. He's 41 years old, so I guess he could go if he thinks he's good enough to go. But J-Man's Booker Prediction of the Week brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watering for life, home, auto, business, renters, workers' comp, and farm insurance. Contact Travis at 219-869-4561. His email is travis.watering@infb.com. It took a little while for the games to get good, but really ever since game 3 of both championship series, the games have been fantastic. Diamondbacks coming back and getting a walk-off winner to win their first one in game 3. Then in game 4, came back from a couple down in the 8th inning. Craig Kimbrell came on and gave up a 2-run homer to Alec, 2 or 3-run homer to Alec Thomas, then gave up a RBI game-winning single to Moreno there, their catcher. That's been an exciting series, and the Phillies took care of business the other night. And then the Astros, classic game on Friday where back and forth. Astros got up. I think it was 4-0, 3-0, or 4-0 in the first inning, and then just the Rangers just kept chipping away. Hit a long home run to take the lead in the 8th inning. Thought they were going to win it, and then Jose Altuve hits a long home run to get the lead back and winning that game. But there was some fireworks in that game without the home runs. Adolis Garcia, who hit the homer for the Angels, he got beamed. Bench is cleared. The Astros reliever got suspended 2 games, and he appealed it, and it was upheld, but Major League Baseball, for whatever reason, doesn't do a thing to the Houston Astros. He doesn't have to serve that suspension until next season, which is bullcrap. He should have to miss tonight's game, in my opinion. I pose this question to you. Are the Astros the most hated franchise in the history of Major League Baseball?
Oh man, if not, they're really close.
Yeah.
I feel like the only people who like the Astros are from Houston.
Yeah. I was thinking about this earlier today, and I was actually talking about with my dad, and we both thought they are more unlikable than the Yankees have ever been. They whine too, is the worst part. They whined about the suspension and how it could loom over Game 7, and how Major League Baseball is giving the Rangers favors because Chris Young, their GM, worked for Major League Baseball the past couple years. And woe is me, and they're still punishing us for cheating just because we cheated worse than everyone else. They're whiny. The players got off scot-free. We can talk about that forever, about the cheating scandal, and I don't.
You think Jim Harbaugh's a Astros fan?
He might be. He might be an Astros fan. He might have picked up a thing or two from the Houston Astros, or Bill Belichick, for that matter.
Where's a trash can when you need it?
Yeah. But the Astros are trending in a way, and a lot of it has to do with they're in their 7th straight ALCS, and
fatigue. Yeah.
And then that cheating scandal doesn't help. But I cannot stand them, and I am rooting my heart out for the Texas Rangers to win the American League.
Well, the Rangers have had the heart broken a time or two, Ranger fans. I mean, they're due. One of few teams who have never won a World Series. But I do have some Rangers trivia for you today. It's nothing to do with birdie or bogey. I just want to see if you can.
Well, I'm going to give myself a birdie if I get it right.
What 5 players have won an MVP for the Texas Rangers?
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Josh Hamilton.
Yes.
I assume Alex Rodriguez.
Yes.
There's 2 more that have won MVPs with the Texas Rangers. What era?
One's in our lifetime. I don't believe the other one was.
One is in our lifetime. Pudge, did he win an MVP?
Ivan Rodriguez, yep.
The other guy, Texas Ranger. I don't know.
Jeff Burrows.
Wouldn't have guessed that.
Yep. Yeah, you did pretty good. 4 out of 5.
Yeah. Jeff Burrows, his son Shea, I want to say, was like one of the top prospects in baseball, and he kind of fizzled out real quick there in like the mid 2000s. It's the only reason why I even remember Jeff Burrows. Yeah, they've had a decent history for not. I mean, of course, Nolan Ryan pitched for them for a while. Man, I don't think we've ever seen a more heartbreaking championship loss, maybe in sports history, than the way they lost that 2011 World Series up to bottom of the 9th in St. Louis, 2 guys on, 2 outs, 2 strikes on David Freese. And because there was no DH, Nelson Cruz had to play the field, and he it would have been a tough catch, but David Freese hit the ball off the wall. That was probably caught by a lot of right fielders, and they end up tying it, and then of course losing that one, and then losing Game 7. But can't imagine now they're finally back to potentially win a World Series, and I think they have a real good shot to do it if they win tonight.
Yep. If the Diamondbacks hold on against the Phillies, who do you like in Game 7 there?
Phillies, Game 7 on the road would be real tough for a Diamondbacks team that won 84 games. It's been a heck of a run for them already, and they're playing good baseball. Don't know who would start Game 7 for the Phillies. Zach Gallen just went, and he got hit around pretty well. Their second best starter, Merrill Kelly's pitching tonight, so he's not going to be able to go tomorrow. And that's probably why I'm taking the Phillies, because I think they'll have either Zach Wheeler or Ranger Suarez, who have been really good this postseason. And so yeah, give me the. I'm hoping for the Phillies Rangers. That was my book at last week. That'd be the Phillies Rangers, and it hasn't come to fruition yet. Of course, when I made that prediction, the Rangers were up 2-0, and Phillies got up 2-0.
Would Rangers Diamondbacks be the lowest viewed World Series since Astros White Sox in 05?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. It probably would not be good for baseball. Philadelphia, regardless of what sport, they're going to draw
Right.
decent crowd. People are sick of the Astros though, so I'm sure Major League Baseball is rooting for, and the television networks are rooting for Phillies Rangers.
Yeah.
But if the Diamondbacks, if it's Diamondbacks Rangers, I think I'd have a really good time watching that, because I wouldn't really hate either team.
Well, and when's the last time, say the Diamondbacks make the World Series? We won't say they win it right now, but they make it. When's the last time we've seen somebody who is picked fourth, if not last, in their division make the World Series?
It's a really good question.
Feels like it's been a while.
Maybe the Royals in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I don't remember too much hype around the Royals coming into that season. I thought people thought they'd be better just because they had that young talent. But yeah, I think you look at the World Series, maybe the Red Sox. Well, Red Sox were not that great on paper heading into the 2018 season.
But does it surprise anybody just because of who it is? You know.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, because that's the team we're talking about. They lost 100 games just not too long ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
And they squeaked in this year, winning 84. Yeah. And you just get hot at the right time, I guess.
Yep. Well, I do have a word association segment list, I should say, for the segment tonight that is baseball related. And I took, the past 25 years or so, a list of 10 of the ALCS MVPs. All right. And we'll go chronological order, starting with recent, going back, starting with the guy we've kind of already mentioned tonight, Jose Altuve.
He'll be a Hall of Famer, one of the best second basemen, maybe the best second baseman of this generation. Seems like he's a kind of a likable guy, and I wish he wasn't on. If he was not on those teams that cheated, I think his legacy would be a lot greater than it will end up being.
Justin Verlander.
Oh man, that's heartbreaking for me, because he was so close to being traded to the Cubs back in 2018 in August, but the Ricketts did not want to shell out that money to get him, and then he turns into having the greatest stretch of his career here, and it's happened when he was 37 through 41 years old. First ballot Hall of Famer, easy.
Delman Young.
Delman Young, man.
DH. He did it as a DH.
That takes me back. Who do you do it with? Tampa Bay?
Let me go look that up. I know it was. I'll go look it up, but I don't think it was with Tampa.
Yeah, he was. I think he was number 1 overall pick out of high school, and he never really lived up to the billing. He was a good hitter. But he got in some trouble in the minor leagues. He threw a bat at an umpire, and it hit the umpire later on in his career, when his career is pretty much over. But
did with the Tigers in 2012.
Tigers, okay. Yep. That makes sense.
This next guy did it with Tampa Bay, Matt Garza.
Oh man, that was a bad Cubs trade. I liked Garza. He was pretty solid. Traded Chris Archer, who ended up having some good years there with Tampa Bay, as well as Brandon Geyer and forget who else they traded, but that was not a good trade. And then they ended up just having to ship him off like 2 or 3 years later after Theo got there. But yeah, Matt Garza was pretty underrated in his time.
Here's a guy who's had success in both National League and American League in the postseason, Josh Beckett.
Yeah, he obviously he was on that Marlins team. He tagged who was it that ground was it Posada that grounded out in 2003?
Yes, I believe it was.
Yeah, I know it
that
was
sounds right.
left-handed hitter against a righty. Then obviously Beckett goes to Boston and does pretty much the exact same thing, wins the World Series there, and he was a legendary postseason performer.
Paul Konerko.
Yeah, a lot of people will forget about old Paul, and he was, I mean, over 400 career homers. He was really good.
He's who I think about when I think of White Sox baseball because he didn't play anywhere else.
Yeah, yeah, he was kind of their face here in the 2000s for sure. Of course, Frank Thomas
was
shipped off in the early 2000s, but maybe mid 2000s. But yeah, Paulie was good. He's a really good hitter, Cub killer too.
Adam Kennedy.
Yeah, LA, that time Anaheim Angel.
Mm-hmm.
Of all those good players, they had Garrett Anderson and Tim Salmon. Adam Kennedy is the one winning.
Troy Gloss.
Troy Gloss too. Yeah, I forgot about him. Darren
Erstad.
Yeah, and I mean David Eckstein was their shortstop, and Adam Kennedy wins. That's kind of funny.
Yep. Andy Pettitte.
He does he have the most wins in postseason history or most starts in postseason history? There's something that he has.
Why did I think Mike Mussina
maybe
had one of those? I don't know. But
yeah, Pettitte obviously on the 90s Yankees pitched a ton of huge games there. Lefty, really good. Hall of very good player, definitely not.
Yeah, his I don't think he would have made it anyways, but his little stint with the Astros and steroids did not help.
Didn't help.
Yeah, he won the ALCS MVP in 2001. 2 more Yankees. David Justice.
He was. People forget about David Justice. That dude could hit. Lefty, of course. He was played out in Moneyball, the movie, at the end of his career, going to Oakland, and he kind of helped turn them around a little bit. But he was a very good player for the Braves, Yankees, a couple other teams.
Lastly, Orlando Hernandez.
El Duque. He had the ephus, where he lofted up there at 55 miles an hour. He was fantastic in the postseason. He was better in the postseason than he was in the regular season. So it was that mentality. I saw him pitch live for the Mets back in 2007, I believe.
He was still pitching then? Wow.
Yeah, he was in his 40s. Yeah, he was old.
because he won this in 99. So
yeah, he was. He was pretty old, and he came from Cuba, so he was already older once he got over here. But sure. Yeah, he pitched a long time. White Sox, Mets, Yankees. Good player. Good list, T-Dog.
Yeah, and that's going to do it for this week's Word Association segment, which is brought to you by Proforma Print 2 Promo Group. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting as you wind down 2023 or look forward to 2024, it's not too early to start planning. Proforma Print 2 Promo Group has over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs, so you need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company today by giving Barbara Van Weinsberg a call at 574-210-3815.
What football you want to talk? Or you want to talk some NBA preseason instead?
Definitely don't want to talk NBA preseason. I got nothing on that. I can't even tell you who's going to be good and not good this
Couldn't
year.
even tell you I cared.
Yeah. It's funny. At one time, I was a decently big NBA fan, but now...
Yeah, sorry to all those NBA fans out there that watch the show and want to hear us talk NBA. It's not happening.
Yeah, it's not happening. Not happening. I mean, we can always be convinced in one way or the other, but most likely not happening. But let's, what football do I want to start with? Let's start college this week. I think we did NFL first last week, so let's do college football this week. Yeah, interesting week 8 around the country.
Gotta be honest. Watched maybe two quarters of college football, so you're gonna have to carry us in this segment. Which
Yeah.
you're a college football guy, so
Yeah, it was. I thought it was a really interesting week, especially around the Big Ten. Penn State, you let me down. I hyped you up all year. I call you the best team in the nation at one point, and you do what you always do in the Big
yep,
Ten games. You lay an egg
yeah.
every
That's
time.
it's starting to become a little concern for James Franklin. They cannot get
Yes,
over the hump in these huge games. And their offense was just putrid.
it was
To be
awful.
honest, it's crazy for like the past 5 or 6 years. Ohio State has had an unbelievable offense, and their defense has been suspect. It's the exact opposite.
Flip flop.
It's
Yep.
completely flip flop. Their defense is elite this year.
And Pitt State's defense played well too, but man, Maserati Marv,
I'm
as
so sick of
as
that.
as Gus Johnson was calling him, he is a fantastic college football wide receiver.
He is
Um,
maybe the best draft prospect as far as wide receiver goes we've ever seen. Calvin Johnson was awfully good too.
right.
And assuming the Bears are going to pick number one, I'd go him. Whoever picks number one, I would go Marvin Harrison Jr. over any of the quarterbacks or any other position, in my opinion. He is a
He's a
game
game
changer.
changer. Seems like a really good kid. I saw him interviewed in Game Day in the morning. Or no, excuse me, Pat McAfee show on Friday. Yeah, seems like a really humble, hardworking. So yeah, I think he'll pass all the tests there. But elsewhere around the Big Ten, Iowa's lack of scoring finally caught up to them
Finally, yeah.
as they lost the Floyd Rosedale Trophy at home for the first time since 1999, Ferentz's first year. I still don't believe in this Minnesota team, but yet it was a good win for PJ Fleck and company, a win they really needed. Kind of shook up the Big Ten West, which I really thought was going to be shaken up for a little while, and then Wisconsin came from behind and beat Illinois. So now Wisconsin's in the driver's seat once again in the Big Ten West.
Do you think they should have overturned that punt return touchdown for Iowa?
I did not think it was a fair catch,
I didn't either.
but due to the rules, it's a what did they say? Something signal, unverified signal, or something like that. So
Yeah,
but
that
no,
would have been a classic way for Iowa to win, though.
Sure.
Defense plays great. You get a punt return touchdown. That's kind of what they're doing. Deacon Hill for Iowa might be the worst quarterback I've seen play Big Ten football since maybe Jeff George Jr. He was pretty bad. Illinois had a string of bad quarterbacks there in the mid 2010s. But Deacon Hill might be the worst I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's pretty darn bad. I think I said on last week's pod, or maybe the week before, that he was the worst opposing quarterback I'd ever seen Purdue face. And I've seen some bad ones that have beat Purdue, and Deacon Hill's on that list now because his team got the win. But I am going to go on record on October 23rd. I think this is Ferentz's last year at Iowa. I don't think he's going to fire his son. The university's got to want him to do it. He's not going to do it, and he retires.
Could see that. We don't remember Iowa without
No,
parents.
we
They
don't
were
remember
bad.
the Hayden Fridays. No,
Yeah, they were really bad right before he got there. I think they went 1-11 his first year there too, and obviously he's turned him into a consistent winner. Yeah, his inability to do anything with the offense, and he's not going to do anything with the son. Now, if they lose out and go 10-2, I mean, you have a hard time firing your son.
right.
But if this thing starts to spiral a little bit, then I could absolutely see that, and I think a lot of Iowa fans would be okay with it, to be honest.
Yeah, you brought up a good point. I mean, I did just predict that, and I'll stick by my prediction, but they could still end up winning the Big Ten West, and then I don't know. That would look pretty bad if you fire your coach after that, I presume. So Nebraska squeaked one out against Northwestern. It was a pretty ugly game. Nebraska's defense looks good. Their offense just is not there. Michigan killed Michigan State. It was 49-0, and it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, Michigan State has reached the point of the year where they have given up.
Oh, Big Ten. I don't know if they could beat anybody in the Big Ten right now.
They might lose to Northwestern. Yeah,
Yeah, they just got nothing. I mean, you can tell they're. I mean, and it's a program that just can't get out of its own way. Athletic department that can't get out of its own way.
How far have they fallen in just 2 years? Tuck coming to now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they were kind of burned by the Or he was there in 2021, wasn't he? I was gonna say they're kind of burdened by the COVID year, but he was there in 21, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then, and NBC loves themselves some Michigan. Doesn't matter if it's going to be a blowout, and they did it again today with the schedule. They have a bye week this week. They host Purdue next week. They put it on NBC at 7:30.
That'll be fun for you.
That'll be a shellacking. But can't be much worse than the Michigan State one, I don't think. Probably will be now that I said that, but I don't think.
You wouldn't think.
You wouldn't think, but it's that is not a house that's kind of Purdue at all.
And Michigan's really good too, which doesn't.
Purdue has not played there since 2011.
Really?
Yeah. They were supposed to the COVID year and then got scratched.
As you mentioned, Wisconsin coming back, that was an impressive choke job, even by Illinois standards.
I thought it was over. I left to go to dinner, and because I was kind of watching 3 games at once during that time frame, and then I checked my phone. I'm like, oh my gosh, Wisconsin came back and won.
Yeah, a potential top 10 pick, Johnny Newton for Illinois, got kicked out on a targeting call that completely changed the game, supposedly.
Glad you brought that up because this has always been a pet peeve of mine. I hate the targeting rule as far as disqualifying a player in college. Hate it. Hate it.
Have them sit out a half for the next game they play.
If they do it in the second half.
If they do it in the second half, yeah. Really stupid. And it's been this way for how many years now? 7, 8 years now?
Way too long. This? I mean, it's affecting games.
Yeah.
I wish they'd do the NFL.
Sure.
2 of them, yes. You get one, you get the 15-yard penalty, you get a warning. Do it again, yes, you're out. That's okay. Come on. But in NFL, they usually have the warning unless you're Kareem Jackson. Have done it multiple times. Then you get kicked out, and now you're suspended 4 games, which I thought would be 1, maybe 2, and I still would be shocked if it sticks at 4. I bet they appeal it and get it a little lower. But we'll see. That's talk for later on. But interesting week around the Big Ten, but also interesting week around the country. We saw Alabama kind of flex their muscles. First time in a while. Yeah. They looked really good. Utah, impressive late drive to get a game-winning field goal to beat USC. Caleb Williams, I saw some people saying he should sit out the rest of the year because they're not going to win the Pac-12. He's not going to win the Heisman. They're not going to the playoff. I'm like, yeah, I get what they're saying, but that's loser mentality.
Yeah, and
in my opinion, he's not going to play in a bowl game. We already know that.
Yeah, and with the NIL, who knows? He might have to play out the season, or he's not going to get.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
He can, he's run his mouth a little bit, saying how I could still come back if I don't like the team picking number 1. There's no guarantee he goes number 1 now. He's been so bad the past 2 weeks. Did you see what Kyle Whittingham said?
I did not.
He goes, USC has a Heisman quarterback, but our quarterback's tough as nails. He's a pig farmer. So
he was tough as nails on that drive the other night. And that Utah team's good, man. They're good, and USC can't stop a nosebleed on defense at all.
Teams have never really been able to stop a nosebleed.
He's got the same record through 22 or 23 games as Clay Helton did at USC. Wow. 17-5, I believe. So
he has a lot more talent too.
Yeah, so I wonder if USC fans would be real hurt if he decides to go to the NFL with Caleb Williams. if a team, not as a joint package, but I meant just like if a team out there wants.
Lincoln Riley gives off big Cliff Kingsbury vibes, in my opinion.
Which I meant
success in college, but
I meant to hit on this during the Big Ten with the latest allegations against Michigan, sign stealing allegations. Do you think this will be Jim Harbaugh's last year in Ann Arbor?
Yeah. I think he finally makes the leap to the NFL now.
Yep.
Watch out for the Bears. The Bears make a ton of sense.
So do the Chargers. If they get rid of Brandon Staley. Well, he also played for the Chargers. He played for the Bears, played for the Chargers. And I think the Chargers, and we'll talk about the Chargers here momentarily, I think the Chargers are the most talented team that will be looking for a new coach.
That's fair.
So maybe it's you can jump right in and win pretty quickly, whereas some of these other jobs probably going to take a little while.
But, yeah, that makes sense.
Elsewhere,
would be interesting or hilarious to see Jim Harbaugh coaching Justin Fields. Assuming Fields would be there next year. But.
Yeah. Elsewhere around the country, Miami, Florida won a double overtime game at home against Clemson.
Clemson's reign of terror is over.
They're 4-3, and next week they host Notre Dame. So
this is what they look like without a generational quarterback. They had back-to-back with Watson and then Lawrence, and now Cade Klubnik, Dabo likes to throw his players under the bus.
Sure does.
Say, that was a handoff. Did it on his own. Dabo has never taken any responsibility for anything other than winning. If they lose, not his fault.
And DJ's been all right for Oregon State. Maybe they shouldn't have ran him out of town. But elsewhere, Oklahoma survived a scare from UCF at home. And Texas.
North Carolina did not survive.
Yeah. That was bad.
Loss for North Carolina.
There goes their dark horse playoff chances, and that hurts Drake May's Heisman chances. Right now, the Heisman, I think the new leader in Vegas is J.J. McCartney right now.
What I was going to say. That was McCarthy.
But also Texas, Quinn Ewers is out for multiple weeks now. So that could shake up their season big time. He's got a shoulder injury.
Arch Manning time.
I think they were planning to redshirt him, but now he might have to be their backup at least.
Yeah.
So what else happened around the country? I know I'm forgetting some stuff.
Florida State took care of Duke.
Not by much.
No. As I said, I didn't watch a whole lot, but
I did laugh that UCLA beat Stanford like 42-7 or something like that. So, and I believe that's who Colorado plays next is UCLA this week. So I believe that could be fun. But no, it was a good week of college football, starting to shake things up, and we got some interesting top 25 matchups. The Big Ten matchups aren't too interesting this week.
Yeah, a lot of blowout potential this week.
But the top 25 ones are pretty good.
Yeah. I did win Pick'em. The only game I got wrong was the Iowa game, coincidentally.
Yeah, Penn State let me down. And like I said, we were talking smack about them in big games. They still do have Michigan at home, so they could make up for it and win that one. But I just don't. I got to see it to believe it now.
Speaking of Penn State, we have Indiana traveling there. CBS game, I believe.
CBS at noon, yep. Penn State's a 31-point favorite in this one. I got the Nittany Lions for 5. Only 5 Big Ten games this week. So
yeah, Penn State for 5 as well. It's getting ugly there in Indiana, and they're going to have a real hard time justifying keeping Tom Allen if they should do that.
Yes, they will. I did hear a counter argument from an Indiana fan, friend of my dad's. I think it's actually a coworker of my dad's. He said he's a big IU guy, but he said who would want to come to IU? He said if they go out and hire a young OC, even though the money is enticing from the Big Ten now, OC's going to use that as a stepping stone. If he can win 7 games at Indiana, especially with this future Big Ten schedule, he's taking his ticket and running to a better job.
But the thing is, you leave it in a better spot than what you found it.
That's true. That's true.
And for a program like in Indiana, they can afford to do that because they don't have much. They don't have really a talent-rich history there. Then maybe being the stepping stone and continuously winning 7-8 games, that'd be the way to go.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, they had their fun years in 2018, 19, and even 2020, and it just fell off ever since.
Penn State for 5. Maryland traveling to Evanston to face Northwestern.
Yeah, Maryland's 13.5-point favorite. Their bye week came at a perfect time for them, coming off back-to-back losses. I think they regroup, and I think they get it done, but I only have the Terps for 2 points.
I have Maryland for 3. Bad loss last week. I think they bounce back, though, after having a bye. Michigan State at Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota's only 7-point favorite. I was very surprised it was that low. But like I said, Minnesota has trouble scoring as well. But I think the Gophers get it done at home. I got the Gophers for 4.
Yeah, Minnesota will get it done at home, but I don't think they're that great, so I only have Minnesota for 2. After all this trash I talked about Michigan State, how they've given up, I only have them for 2. But Purdue at Nebraska.
Yeah, interesting one here. Nebraska's on a 2-game win streak. Purdue's coming off a bye, which was much needed for them after getting shellacked by Ohio State. Maybe got some guys healthy, getting some guys back. I think this is Purdue's Super Bowl this year. They got to get 4 of the last 5, and they're not going to get Michigan, so you got to get this one. And maybe I'm going with my heart over my head. I'm taking the Boilers for 1. Nebraska is a 2.5-point favorite.
Low scoring game. Should be a
Mhm.
low scoring game anyway. For that, I'm going with the home team for 1. Nebraska for 1. Ohio State at Wisconsin.
Yeah, Ohio State. This is the NBC night game. Camp Randall will be rocking. These are usually pretty good games. Ohio State's a 14-point favorite. I think they win this one pretty easily. Ohio State for 3.
I have Ohio State for 4. Yeah, especially with no Tanner Mordecai, assuming he's going to be out.
Yeah, I think he's out for a little while.
The backup didn't look too bad.
Is his last name Locke? Or am I wrong about that?
Yes.
I don't remember his first name.
I think his last name's Locke. I don't know, though, to be honest.
Okay.
But, yeah, Ohio State 4 for me. Top 25s. Florida State traveling to Wake Forest. Wake Forest the one that got kind of screwed over? Or was it Pittsburgh? I can't remember. I think Pittsburgh won at home. Clearly, a guy slid short of the first down, and they gave it to him, and then just something. I don't even remember.
I didn't see it. I didn't see it, so this is news to me.
But yeah, Wake Forest ends up losing a game that it felt like they should have won against Pittsburgh last week.
Give me Florida State. I don't know what the spread is or anything. But Florida State.
Yeah. Number 6, Oklahoma traveling to 5-2 Kansas.
Yeah, Kansas will be rocking. Kansas turned into a little tough place to play the last few years. I think Oklahoma got their scare, though, from UCF. Give me the Sooners.
Yeah, give me Oklahoma as well. Number 1, Georgia. I still don't think they've looked overly impressive against anyone but Kentucky. Traveling to 5-2 Florida. Didn't realize Florida was that. I'm surprised. With Florida being 5-2, I'm surprised Florida's not like 10th or 11th.
This is the neutral game at Jacksonville. It's the world's largest cocktail party. I think Florida gives them a game, but Georgia finds a way to pull it out.
Yeah, give me Georgia. I don't think they cover, though. It's 14.5.
Brock Bowers is still out, so.
Yeah, he could be out 4 to 6 weeks, so he might hang her up for the draft. In my opinion, the game of the week here, number 8, Oregon traveling to Salt Lake City to take on the Utes.
Yeah, Bo Nix looked good for Oregon against, I think it was Washington State they played, I think.
They got fortunate. Was it them they got? No, Washington got awfully fortunate to win that one against Arizona State or Arizona? Anyway. Man. Yeah, Bo Nix is probably in that top 5 convo for Heisman.
Yep. I'm going with Utah, though. I like this team, and I like Whittingham. I think he's a heck of a coach.
Yeah, Oregon's 7-point favorites on the road. Give me Utah as well. I like that upset pick. Pitt at Notre Dame. Notre Dame's 20-point faves.
Oh, Notre Dame wins pretty easily.
Yeah. Number 20, Duke at number 18, Louisville.
Mike Elko's done a heck of a job at Duke. Jeff Brom, last time we saw his team, they lost in the rain at Pittsburgh. Then they had a bye last week. He'll have the guys prepared at home. Give me Louisville.
Yeah, give me Louisville as well. They are 4-point favorites.
Should be a good one, though.
Last one here. Do you want to give me UCLA over Colorado? I hope they
100%
just end them. Number 21, Tennessee at 5-2, Kentucky.
Yeah, like I said, Tennessee had a double-digit lead at one point down in Tuscaloosa. I'm thinking, man, is Alabama going to drop 2 home games in one season? But then Alabama woke up in second half, got some revenge from the upset field rushing at Knoxville last year. Give me Kentucky just because I don't like Tennessee that much.
Tennessee's 4-point favorites, and I think they cover. Give me the Volunteers. Before we talk NFL, do you want to be educated real quick?
Oh, yes.
On this day in 1921, the Green Bay Packers played their first APFA, which was the forerunner to the NFL game, and they beat the Minneapolis Marines 7-6.
I've never heard of Minneapolis Marines, and I bet you the Packers have the same logo they have now.
In 1945, American baseball player Jackie Robinson signs contract with the Montreal Royals, minor league farm team of the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Legend.
On this day in It's not a very good one. 1967, the New Jersey Americans, later known as the New Jersey Nets, played their first ABA game.
Interesting franchise there.
On this day in 1974, Chicago Cubs trade six-time MLB All-Star Billy Williams to the Oakland A's for second baseman Manny Trio and two pitchers. Hard to believe the Cubs could trade some legends, but don't want to get into that already, as Kyle Schwarber has the most home runs by a left-handed batter ever in postseason history. On this day in 1984, Rick Sutcliffe, also known as, I think, Red Baron, maybe, selected as unanimous choice as NL Cy Young. Interesting, he was traded from the Indians mid-season 1984 to the Cubs, and he won the NL Cy Young. He was so good with them in that stretch. Who won the World Series on this day in 1993?
93, that was the Blue Jays.
It was
Joe Carter, Mitch Williams.
Yep. On this day, oh man, this was terrible. 2000 Monday Night Miracle, down 30-7 at the end of the third quarter. The New York Jets pulled together an improbable comeback with 4 touchdowns and a field goal in the fourth quarter, eventually defeating the Miami Dolphins 40-37 in overtime.
Didn't Wayne Charbet have the big catch at the end or something?
Wayne Charbet.
Charbet.
Thinking of Sherbert.
Yes, I
am. Wayne Charbet had a big one, but they also had an offensive lineman catch a touchdown. That was brutal.
Was Vinny the quarterback then? Testaverde?
It was either Vinny,
or was it Chad?
I want to say it was Pennington. I don't remember, though. But I remember, of course, I was only 8 years old, so I went to bed when they had a pretty sizable lead, and I woke up and my dad told me they lost. That started my hatred of the Miami Dolphins right there. On this day in 2004, Boston College beat Notre Dame 24-23 in South Bend.
I think, I remember that because that was when Ty Willingham was still Notre Dame's coach.
The 16th college football holy war.
Yeah.
That is going to do it for On This Day today, October 20-something,
23rd. Hard to believe already, but that is the On This Day segment, which is brought to you by Mooney Woodcrafts. Mooney Woodcrafts is a veteran-owned and operated woodcraft shop based out of Texas with Indiana grassroots. They provide 100% hand-cut custom designs to fit your needs, and their pieces are a great addition to any home, office, or man cave. You can see some of their recently completed projects by visiting them on Facebook or Instagram at Mooney Woodcrafts as their handle on there. And if you let them know the Tan and J-Man Show sent you, you get 15% off your order. We are literally almost exactly 2 months away from Christmas, so it would be the perfect present for the sports fan in your family. So get your sign orders in today.
NFL, 3 winners, 3 losers. Do I start winners or do you start winners?
Gosh, I need to do a better job at keeping the track record, but I'll let you go first with winners. I'll go first with losers.
Baltimore Ravens. How many times this year has a team been crowned best team in football only to get absolutely murdered the next week?
A lot.
It's happened to the Dolphins. It's happened to the Bills, and now it's happened to the Lions. That game was over at halftime.
Go ahead and crown the Chiefs, Josh. Do it right now.
I want to crown the Chiefs after they beat Denver, right before they play the Dolphins in Germany. So please, Denver, lose this week. I don't want them coming in off a loss, much like the Eagles. Man, Ravens look like one of the best teams in the AFC.
Lamar looked great.
Playing fantastic football. Yeah. Good defense. Ravens.
Yeah, my wife, while we were watching Red Zone, she goes, I wish we had Lamar Jackson. I said, I think a lot of teams wish they had Lamar Jackson. A lot of teams could have had Lamar Jackson.
Could have had Lamar Jackson.
One of my winners, I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Going on the road to L.A., I thought the Rams would take care of them pretty easily. And Steelers, even though it felt like a home game because they had so many people there, they just fought and clawed their way and got it done. Now they're back in the hunt. And I mean, I know we're not even halfway to the halfway point of the season yet, but you can't count them out for the playoffs.
Yeah, they're a bad team. Kenny Pickett's a bad quarterback, but they keep winning games.
Yeah, that's all that matters at the end of the day. So good coach.
Atlanta Falcons played without Bijan Robinson because he was under the weather. go into Tampa Bay. The NFC South is putrid.
Awful.
It's the worst division in football, and they found a way to get it done. So they're right there, 4-3. Bad quarterback play, but they have good running game, and I will go on record and say the winner of that division finishes either 9-8 or 8-9.
New England Patriots. And I'm saying this after last week. I called them the worst team in the NFL, and they beat the Buffalo Bills at home. Bills got some problems, and I don't know if they're going to figure it out. Plenty of games left, but it's getting to the point where they got to figure this out because their window is shrinking already as a franchise, and it's crazy to say that, but Patriots wasn't pretty, but they got it done, and Billy Boy got his 300th win, and it was revealed yesterday, very quietly, he signed a multi-year contract extension in the offseason.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
That's a prediction I got wrong.
Yeah. Cleveland Browns. They're doing it without Deshaun Watson, and Myles Garrett is a dominant force. The likes of which we have not seen in a long time on the defensive line. J.J. Watt was that. Von Miller was that too. But Myles Garrett is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And he single-handedly won that game.
Yes, he did.
Browns keep getting it done. That might be the best division in football.
That was the most entertaining game, I thought, yesterday. That game was back and forth, which the Colts, which we'll talk about the Colts in a bit, they're interesting because they are in a lot of entertaining games. Yeah. It seems like. I think Shane Steichen, whatever his name is, has done a heck of a job because that's not a very talented roster, but they are in every single game. And lastly, because I have this team in the losers category more times than not, and I don't know how many times I'll have them in the winners category, the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
You thought I was going a different direction.
I did.
Chicago Bears, one without Justin Fields, one with the undrafted Division II free agent who was the Heisman Trophy equivalent winner for Division II. But not only did they win, they won pretty convincingly over the Las Vegas Raiders, who are a dumpster fire.
Yeah, pretty stupid to start 38-year-old Brian Hoyer, or keep him in the game anyway.
Yes.
You might want to start him just to see because you're slow. Right. But at halftime, they should have made the move to O'Connell just to get him some reps and see if they could get a spark or something.
Aiden came in, he did throw a pick, but he also threw a touchdown. And then Josh McDaniels was asked about it in the postgame. He said, "This isn't the preseason." Yeah, all right, Josh, you're on the way to get fired for the second time as a head coach. You'll never be a head coach again. So.
2 years and done there in Vegas. Starting off, the loser category is you.
Yes, Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
I still think they're a very good football team. I think they'll win the North pretty easily. But, man, that was a stinker of a game yesterday. It should have been a lot worse than 38-7. Yeah. I mean, they were out of it midway through the second quarter. And it's like, maybe they're not ready for that moment quite yet.
Yeah. Buffalo Bills, we did talk about them a little bit. But Josh Allen, when he's not playing the Miami Dolphins, is a good quarterback, but he's turnover machine. And I don't think they're that good. And they have the injury issue starting to pile up, especially on their defensive side of the ball. Allen's first throw of the game yesterday threw an interception. And then they couldn't stop Mac Jones from coming down and throwing a touchdown late. So, the Bills, something's amiss there.
Yep. Second, I'm going with Brandon Staley. Your time's ticking there in LA, Brandon. Your team is too talented on paper to be 2-4, 2-5, whatever they are. And I think he's awful at managing the game, clock management, I should say. And his time's ticking there. And Justin Herbert, I ran a poll on our Twitter X account the other day that is Justin Herbert overrated? And surprisingly, 68% of people said no. I thought it'd be the other way around. So,
he's overrated. You see all these physical tools. I mean,
he's very talented.
He is a video game quarterback.
Yeah,
like that's who you want. The arm strength, the athleticism. Not a winner. And the same issues that he was having at Oregon are popping up here in the NFL. Took him a couple years to pop up, but here we are.
I remember at one time you were regretting that the Dolphins took Tua over Herbert.
Not anymore.
No.
If they would have ended up losing that Vikings game a few weeks ago, I think Staley would be gone by now.
Already. Yeah, I think it's coming.
Yeah. Um, who do I want to be my second loser? Tampa Bay Bucks.
Yeah, I'm done with them.
Yeah, Baker played bad for another game, 2 or 3 straight games now. They had a nice little run to start the season, but you can't be losing at home to a mediocre Falcons team if you want to be a legit contender in the NFC North. So,
My last, the NFL officials. I thought it was a bad day around the league yesterday. This tush push thing.
It's frustrating.
It's very frustrating. I don't think they can do anything during the season, but I think they will after the season. I think we'll see it either get banned or there's going to be some adjustment to it. I don't know what that is. I'm not smart enough to figure that out. But I don't know how you stop it. I don't know how you stop it.
You just knew. I mean, they were 4 for 4 last night. They're 44 of their last 47. Yep. It is unstoppable, but at the same time, other teams are trying it and they're not as successful.
Right. So there is a science to it, and it's, I remember the Wildcat when the Panthers and then the Dolphins did it to success back in the mid 2000s, and the NFL new things catch on and work for a little bit, but then defensives find ways to stop it. But so far, nobody's figured this out.
There's nothing you can do scheme wise to stop it. Honestly, it's not like this.
Rip his head off.
Play, yeah. they're starting to call the Eagles for offensive offsides, which you never see.
Yeah.
But of course, the officials last night. I don't even want to get into it.
That's why I kind of put the NFL officials. I wanted to get you fired up here.
It's not why the Dolphins lost the game.
Didn't help.
However, it was only the 7th time in NFL history a team got called for double-digit penalties and the other team didn't get called for a single one. There were some plays called on the Dolphins that shouldn't have been called, and there were plays not called on the Eagles that should have been called. And Dolphins didn't play very well. They were 60% of their offensive line against the most physical team in the NFL. That's the thing. Dolphins are a finesse football team, and they've faced 2 really physical teams, and they've gotten beaten by both on the road. The tush push thing is frustrating because you knew you can't stop it. You have to give up 8 yards or less on the first 3 downs, or you're done. Yep. Like you're just not in ball control, which is what the Eagles do best. So
there's been some review situations lately in the NFL. Like you clearly see it's one thing, and then they go with the other, and it just. It's more times not they're calling in their, their head official, not the head official, but like Gene Sterators and stuff, and they're disagreeing with things that are being called. So it's very frustrating. And I know Colts fans could probably spend an hour out of frustration due to how that game ended against the Browns. But officials are my third loser.
My last loser, Washington Commanders. Ron Rivera as this airs Jeff Fisher. Got to a Super Bowl, lost it, and then he's just been mediocre pretty much every year. Sam Howell's terrible. They should have tried harder to get a quarterback.
That offensive line's terrible.
Offensive line's brutal. Sam Howell's on pace to break David Carr's sack record to get sacked. So, Commanders are bad. Mm-hmm. So, NFL Pick'em, I did win. It was a pathetic week for both. I came into last night with a 39 to 39.
That's got to be the lowest we've ever had going into a Sunday night football game.
There've been weeks where we've scored over 100, and
didn't help. There's only 13 games, but
so I won because we both took the Eagles and the Niners, and the point differential wasn't great enough. But Thursday night, a semi-interesting one here. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, both teams need it. I think the Bills bounce back at home. Give me the Bills for 11.
I have the Bills for 13. I think they bounce back in a big way. LA Rams at the Dallas Cowboys.
I got the Cowboys for 6.
I have the Cowboys for 8. Something's amiss there in LA as well, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is Sean McVay's last year. He almost hung it up this past offseason. This might be the year that does it. Cowboys for 8. Minnesota Vikings at the Green Bay Packers.
I wish I could see the Vikings play tonight before I made this pick, but I don't think either of these teams are very good at all, but I'm taking the Packers at home for 2.
I'm taking the Vikings for 6. I think the Packers are one of the bottom 3 teams in the NFC.
Ooh, wow.
Jordan Love outside of the first 2 weeks has looked absolutely horrendous.
I don't know how good Coach Matt LaFleur is without Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
So.
They have no weapons either. So they did a disservice to Aaron Rodgers drafting no weapons, and now they've done a disservice to Jordan Love having no weapons.
Yep.
Vikings for 6. Atlanta Falcons at the Tennessee Titans.
Taking the Titans for 3 at home, even though their quarterback's position's kind of up in the air.
Yeah. Sounds like Tannehill's going to be out a little while. Give me the Falcons for 3, assuming Bijan Robinson's back. This will be like a 10-9
boring
game. Very boring. I'm not going to be watching a second of that one. New Orleans Saints at the Indianapolis Colts.
Like I said, Colts are always an entertaining game, so this is probably an entertaining game. I like the Colts at home to bounce back here. 8 points for the Colts.
I agree. I have the Colts winning for 2. Check down Derek Carr is who I thought he's been his whole career, which is bad. And it's funny to see him absolutely going off on his receivers when he throws a ball 25 yards over their head and it's the receiver's fault. He's such a mediocre quarterback, and I feel bad for Saints. No, I don't feel bad for Saints fans. They had Drew Brees for 15 years. What am I talking about? New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins.
Dolphins were 15. Bounce back in a big way.
I think Dolphins bounce back in a pretty big way, too. As I've been saying, Hard Rock Stadium's turned in one of the hardest places to play in the NFL, and it doesn't seem like it would be. But Dolphins have won 15 of their last 17 at home. In those 2 losses, Skylar Thompson had to start one, and the other one, Tua got a concussion right before half and threw 3 interceptions in the second half against the Packers on Christmas Day. So they could easily have a 17-game win streak there. But Dolphins for 11. New York Jets at the New York Giants.
Yeah, this is that weird game where they got to dress in a different locker room, I guess. Or they probably don't. They probably have it constructed like they don't. I don't know how it's constructed. But it's the home team playing against the home team here. But Jets for 4.
Give me the Giants for 1.
We're differing a lot this week.
Yeah, it would be classic to hear all these after beating the Eagles last week go on by. Jets fans are feeling good, and then they lose to a terrible Giants team. But give me Giants for 1. Jacksonville Jaguars at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Got to go with my AFC champs, Jags for 5.
I have the Jags for 7. Jags are playing good football. I'm not a believer in the Pittsburgh Steelers. Philadelphia Eagles at the Washington Commanders.
No, I picked the Eagles, but why am I not seeing it? I don't. Wow, I miscounted somewhere. I got the Eagles, but I don't have this written down anywhere on my sheet.
There are no buys this week.
Yeah, I listed 16. I'm missing a point value somewhere.
I have the Eagles for 9. We got to fly through these pretty quick. Houston,
I got the Eagles large. I don't know what I'm going to have them at. But
Houston Texans at the Carolina Panthers.
I got the Texans. Where is that game on here? I got the Texans for 10.
I have the Texans for 4. Cleveland Browns at the Seattle Seahawks.
I got the Seahawks for 1.
I have the Seahawks for 10. Man, we are different quite a bit. Kansas City Chiefs at the Denver Broncos.
It's going to probably be 17 straight, unfortunately. I got the Chiefs for 13, but I got a little more hope because I'm a loser.
I have the Chiefs for 12. You are a loser.
I am a loser.
Baltimore Ravens at the Arizona Cardinals.
The Ravens for 14.
I have the Ravens for 16. Cincinnati Bengals at the San Francisco 49ers.
I got the Niners for 7.
I have the Niners for 5. Chicago Bears at the LA Chargers Sunday night.
Yeah, I can't believe that's stuck as a Sunday night game. Chargers for 12.
I have the Chargers for 15. If they lose this one, Staley's done. There's no way.
Vegas Fields might be done if the Bears win that game.
Yeah, that's a good point. Vegas Raiders at the Detroit Lions.
Lions for 16.
I have the Lions for 14. Birdie bogey time. Are you ready?
Yes.
Jose Altuve has the second most homers ever in Major League Baseball postseason history. What player did he pass, and what player does he trail?
Well, I think I got one of them, but I don't know which one he is, so I'm just throwing a name out, hoping he's one of them. Albert Pujols?
No.
God. Oh, shoot. I was so confident in that. I thought I could at least get 1 or 2.
You remember he played 10 years in L.A. with the Angels.
I know. That's true. You said he has the most left-handed. Kyle Schwarber?
No,
No,
sorry.
no. Just give it to me. I'd take a bogey. Take 4 strokes down.
Manny Ramirez has the most.
I wasn't even thinking.
Bernie Williams has now the third most.
Well, that's embarrassing. I wasn't even thinking of him either.
Well, Mr. Guitar Player himself. Thanks for watching the Tan and Jane Show. We'll be back at it next Monday with another episode. Have a fantastic week, everybody.